It's live. Hooray. They can't see that. But
no, but they can hear it.
that's right, they can.
Show's always an hour.
I like that it says the internet can totally see you now.
I like that.
Oh.
It's a good way to
let
you know.
You're in trouble. It's getting warmer, so my allergies are like, yep, remember me? I'm like, well, you never left, so...
Yeah.
You can just move that. Yeah, it's getting warmer up here. It's February, but like we're going through a weird warm streak.
It's
so,
true.
Like my face is all like, it was not Joel. Sorry. I always disappoint. You know what I mean?
I know, every time.
And any show I'm on.
Doesn't matter what show it is.
Except for Dylan. Thank you, Dylan.
Yes. Everyone else. Anytime there's a show. Where's Ben?
Where's Ben? Where's Ethan?
And nobody thinks that that's inappropriate. Everyone's just like, well, I just want them to know that I like them a lot. It's like at the expense of the other person, though.
Yeah. It's fine. Tomorrow's gonna be warmer.
Yeah.
It's gonna be awesome.
What up, David? Alright, let's do this.
You gonna do it? We're gonna do it?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'm in charge of things now.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Elseworlds Exchange. I am Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
Even though I have the speech bubble for Tiffany.
Oh yeah, we switched seats.
Yeah. So
now it's confusing.
Whatever.
Today I'm Sal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, kick off the show.
No. I'm gonna throw it over to my co-host today.
Oh, thank you. That's very thoughtful of you. Today we're going to be talking about the Batman trilogy, or the Dark Knight Trilogy, by Christopher Nolan. Before there was a Dark Knight 3, The Master Race, that actually made sense as a title.
Yes.
Now calling it the Dark Knight Trilogy is like, which trilogy are you talking about?
Yeah.
The good one. Because there's two, because here's the thing, Dark Knight Returns is transcendental, but there's two horrible, disappointing sequels. So technically, there are more bad Dark Knight Dark Knight comics than there are good ones. But that said, I'm going to be a lot less excited and enthusiastic than usual because I fucked up my back, so it really hurts like all the time.
That's what you get for being healthy.
Yeah.
Apparently, being healthy is gonna kill you.
Yeah. So I'm going to be putting up with that for a little while. So that might explain why I'm, like, not as jubilant as usual. But hopefully it'll go away by the time we run into you at Emerald City Comic Con.
That's right.
Which both Tiffany and myself, along with everybody from Weekly Pull, will be at. So if you're going to be there, I would recommend being there between Friday and Saturday, because that's the big days we're going to be there.
Yeah.
And, of course, we have a live show that's going to be on Saturday at 2:30 p.m. But check all of our social media for the listings that'll tell you where and when that'll happen.
Absolutely.
So anyway, let's get into these. Tiffany, when was the first time you saw Batman Begins? And did you hear anything about it before it came out?
You know what's funny? I don't remember.
You don't remember hearing about it?
Yeah. It before it came out. Like I really don't. I don't know if I even saw it in the theaters. I'll be honest.
Wow.
I don't remember. I really don't remember. What about you?
I saw it in theaters. I heard very little about it because I had stopped reading Wizard at that time.
Right.
So what I did was I went to the... I heard very little about it, actually. There was very little fanfare surrounding it, and there was a lot of, like, trepidation because the last entry was Batman and Robin, and then there had been such a gap between those two movies that, like, anything... I was actually pretty optimistic about it because, like, number one, there was no expectation of a cinematic universe, so I was like, okay, well, it'll be very self-contained. I had heard rumblings that it was going to be kind of, like, grounded and real, which I was like, I'm down.
Right.
Because high-flying and stupid is not what I'm interested in. But then... yeah, it was like a dark horse, if you will, actually. The Dark Knight was a dark horse. But Batman Begins comes out of nowhere, swoops in out of the darkness of its own franchise, and then kicks us in the face and says, I'm Batman. And let me tell you, I was in love with it. Actually, you know what? There was some fanfare surrounding it because they kept leaking photos.
Okay.
They kept like very like seldomly releasing production photos of the cast, and that was enough. They showed like Thomas Wayne, they showed Gordon, they showed Lucius Fox, and Michael Caine. And each time you saw it, you were like, "Holy shit! I think this movie's actually going to be good."
Right.
And I'd never heard of Christopher Nolan at the time because I avoided a lot of his movies because I thought he was really pretentious. Mm-hmm. I think I eventually saw The Prestige before I saw Batman Begins.
Oh, really?
I think The Prestige came out before then. If it was, then I did see it before Batman Begins.
I didn't think it did, but I don't really know
I thought so, but I don't recall. There was some movie. You know what's funny? I didn't even know it at the time, but I think Nolan made Insomnia with Robin Williams and Al Pacino.
Right.
And I saw that. I did not see Memento, though. I avoided Memento. All the wrong people told me to see Memento, which is why I avoided it so much. Like, the most pretentious people I'd ever met were like, "Oh, you've got to see Memento, it's unbelievable!"
So immediately you're like,
I'm like,
no,
pass!
I don't want that.
It's backwards! Fuck you. What? That's not enough for me. So anyway, yeah. Yeah, so okay, Prestige came out afterwards. So you know what it was? So. I saw Batman Begins, loved it, and then I heard The Prestige coming out, I'm like, see The Prestige. And it was great. Anyway. But, yeah, so saw Batman Begins in theaters, and I don't remember who I saw it with, but a few people that we knew.
Right, okay.
And I dug it. And I kind of forgot who Christian Bale was.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh shit, it's the dickhead from the Shaft reboot.
What's funny is I used to, up until I feel like, I don't know, recently, I used to, like, catch movies later. Like, if they were on TV, or, like, you know what I mean? Like, you'd Netflix them, or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, I missed out a lot on going to movies because I didn't have any money.
Right. Yeah, you saw Independence Day well after Independence Day.
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, yeah, certainly then, because I was little, but, like... Yeah. Like, most movies, like, I just missed. So, like, I first saw Christian Bale in a movie on, like, Sci-Fi called Equilibrium. So I was like, that's gonna be Batman?
I, too, saw Equilibrium before Batman Begins, but I forgot Christian Bale was in it. I think Ben was like, oh, shit! It's the dude from Equilibrium! And I'm like...
Good cut. I used to watch a lot of sci-fi.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I just
like the channel, not the genre.
Well, both, but, like, mostly the channel, because I liked a lot of, like, kind of crappy movies. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Equilibrium is... You know what's funny? I remember seeing it and being like, this is not as terrible as it has any expectation of being. Like, I expected Equilibrium to be, like, Underworld bad. And it was like direct-to-DVD Underworld, only with some semblance of it. Like, Sean Bean being in it really helped ratchet it up a little bit.
Right.
But anyway, we're not talking about Equilibrium.
No, of course not. But...
Oh, yeah, they also released that picture of Liam Neeson as Henry Ducard, and I was like, that's Ra's al Ghul. It's a they're flipping the script. They're making us think that it's going to be Ken Watanabe, and they're just throwing a really, really good actor at us.
Right.
Trying to trick us.
Yeah.
And they did not trick me. I was like, oh no, that's Ra's al Ghul.
Well, I didn't see any of these things.
I know.
But I do remember, you know what? I do remember when I first saw it, because we definitely, we did not see it in theaters. Did not see it in theaters. I saw it with Danielle and another friend of ours. Mm-hmm. I remember us watching it, and, like, Ken Watanabe comes on screen, and they're like, this is Ra's al Ghul. I'm like, first of all, it's Ra's al Ghul. Second of all, no, it isn't. I remember, like, I was such a, like, comic book noob, but I was the most educated in that room, thanks to my experience with Batman the Animated Series. Yes. You know what I mean? Like, so, like, I had my in through that, and I remember, like, everyone else being like, so?
Yeah, why is that so important? Because it's stupid! Because addressing it in such a way as having an uneducated rich white person say, am I saying this right, Mr. Ra's al Ghul? No, you are not saying it right. But don't worry, no one is saying it right in this movie. Just like nobody's saying Falcone correctly.
Exactly. And now, like, we were literally just talking about Batman movies the other night.
Yeah.
And this is something I think we can examine as we talk about the trilogy, but, like, in these movies, they certainly try to move away from this element that was in previous Batman movies, but, like, they never 100% get away from it. But, like, we had to have Katie Holmes in this movie. We have to have Batman have a love interest, which to me...
Otherwise, why will women go to it
today?
No, why will women go to this movie if they don't see the man fall in love with the girl?
I know. I get it. I get where they're coming from with this. I don't necessarily agree with it, but, like, the more I learned about the comic book version of Batman, and, like, even just from watching the cartoon, like, that's not an element of his life.
Yeah, like, he uses women to maintain the subterfuge of Bruce Wayne.
So, like, to me, that's always been really bizarre to me, is to always have that as an element. Like, even in, like, when we get to it, but, like, in the final one, like, the role of Talia is something I can't quite fathom. But we'll get there. We'll get there,
yeah.
But in this movie, like, out of the gate, we established that Batman has a former love interest.
Yeah. Well, or not. Like, they were never really dating in the beginning of the movie.
No, but, like, I think her plan was...
Oh, yeah.
And one day, I'll be Mrs. Wayne.
Yes, and then I'll have all the money, and my terrible accent and awful acting will be completely obfuscated by the amount of money that I've inherited.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, she sucks.
She's not great, and...
It's weird, the casting in that movie.
Casting in the movies, there's some of it's spot on, and some of it's like, what are you doing?
Some of it informs the future of those characters forever.
Yes.
Like Morgan Freeman as Lucius Fox. They were like, okay, make him look like Morgan Freeman forever. Yeah. And that was that. And by the way, no complaints here. Morgan Freeman is delightful. And he, like, tries. He does some different things. He's only given, like, maybe 15 lines, and he only says, like, a few things. And each one is, like, a hilarious quip. Yeah. But it's still fun to watch. And Lucius Fox is still, like, an enchanting performance.
Oh, yeah.
Michael Caine, pass. I was really excited about Michael Caine.
I know, and Michael Caine is one of those characters, like, here's the thing I've noticed, and maybe you agree with me, or maybe you guys agree with me out there, over time, one of two things happens, as you, in terms of things that you get strong feelings about. You either, your love wanes, or you find something to appreciate about something you didn't care for originally, because you didn't understand it. For me, with Michael Caine out of the gate, like, I was like, this is fun, this is cool, right? Him out of the gate. Over time, I've grown to not care for his portrayal of Alfred.
Oh, yeah, no. At first, I'm like, I'm in.
Yeah.
Because, number one, it was like, oh, shit, it's Michael Caine. And he's bringing some gravatas to the Alfred role.
Right.
Even though the previous Alfred had always been great. I loved the original Alfred, whose name escapes me. But that great guy.
Yeah.
I also missed Ephraim Zimbalist Jr., who played the voice for Alfred.
Yes.
In Batman the Animated Series.
Yes.
And I will also say that now having seen the Lego Batman movie, Ray Fiennes is a perfect Batman.
He's a great
Alfred.
Batman.
And not only is he a great Alfred in the voice, I think if he grew the Alfred stash, he would totally own it. Like, I loved, what's his name? Scar as Alfred.
Jeremy Irons?
Yeah, Jeremy Irons. But having heard Ray Fiennes, I just want him now.
Well, he's just, you know what it is? Jeremy Irons is a different different Alfred.
Totally
different Alfred. Ray Fiennes is kind of, I think, more akin to the animated series.
Yes, he's more... Yeah, Ray Fiennes, you believe he was, like he was in, like, the special forces. Like, he was a warrior.
Yeah.
And he was in the jungles and shit. Ray Fiennes is like, I was raised by, you know... a long line of butlers.
Yeah, but he was in, like, you know, Her Majesty's, like, army.
Yes, yeah. You imagine that Ray Fiennes' Alfred was James Bond,
right? Or, like, even just, like, in, like, World War II, like, you know, like, during the Blitzkriegs and all that.
Yeah,
you know? Like, I totally.
Oi.
Yeah, I totally buy, like, that.
Jerry's bumming the shit out of me.
Michael Caine's Alfred, in the first movie, I think is one type of Alfred, and then over time, I feel like the writing and directing for him lost their way.
I think it was... okay, so you think they lost their way. I think that, like the Matrix trilogy, the creators went in another... Like, they were like, I don't care what direction this character is going in organically, I want him to say this.
Yeah, that's... well, but that in a sense is losing his way, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you know, if you're going to be true to the character, like, they attempted to be a little bit more so, like, you know, in his supportive... sense of, like, you know, and,
him, like, being like, I'm gonna help you, facilitated Batman,
right?
And also,
you look, if you're gonna do this, you need to be able to actually, like, be like millionaire Bruce Wayne, but like also be
you have to be smart about it.
Yeah.
He's teaching him how to actually balance the double life, because he's like, look, I used to buttle for millionaires. I know a thing or two about double lives.
Exactly. And look, people change their minds all the time, but the change that he makes is so abrupt.
Yes.
That like it's like either there's a lot of missing scenes, or it's just you needed certain things to happen.
Oh yeah,
you wanted certain character development, and you're forcing it.
Literally, I think it's there's an organic development of Alfred from Begins to Dark Knight. It's when Rises happens they went like, no, we want him to do this, and also get him out of the movie.
Yeah,
which was a shame.
It is
it hurts. Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, it's like they couldn't afford him anymore.
Right, which is like, no, maybe put one fewer tanks in your movie then.
Maybe.
But yeah, everybody did a great job. I was also surprised by a few like wow casting, like Rutger Hauer plays the freaking like the bad guy head of the board, like from freaking Blade Runner. I'm like, yeah, you should have been Magneto 20 years ago.
And Gary Oldman as Gordon is one of those things where like in my head I was like, that's never gonna work, and like he is great as the everyman young Gordon.
Yes. Yeah, he's year one Gordon.
Yeah, 100%. Like, it's him. And I do wish that they had done a little bit more with him, and we could have seen a little bit more of his character.
We literally see his wife and children through a window.
I know.
One time in one movie.
I know.
We also see them at the end of Dark Knight.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's a plot device.
Exactly. And, like, he, you know, like... Gordon himself, to me, has always been, like, you know, the other side of the coin to Batman.
Yeah.
And, like, we get an idea of that in this, but, again, because he's not in the movie quite as much, it's difficult to portray that necessarily.
Yes.
And, like, sometimes he's there just to facilitate certain things.
Oh, yeah, you know, he is a plot device as well. The problem is that, like, nobody is, like, a really, really strong developed character. Batman is only really explored in the first movie, and then the rest of the time he's just like there to facilitate the plot or characters.
Yeah, he does a lot of reacting.
Yeah.
It's like it's a lot of reactionary measures.
Ooh, and Cillian Murphy is the Scarecrow.
Yeah, you know what? Like,
I liked him.
It's funny, like, with characters like the Scarecrow, especially like with the Scarecrow, you are watching them walk a fine line.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to not delve into, like...
comic book ridiculousness?
Into Jim Carrey Riddler, into, like, you know, Arnold, like, you know...
Mr. Freeze.
But they also... Like, they want to keep it dramatic, but not so much so where they strip everything away. Like, the character needs to be recognizable.
Yeah.
And in a sense, he is.
Yeah, so, he wears that mask, like, maybe 0.5 seconds. He wears it almost as much as Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man 2.
Right. And what's interesting about this is that, like, most of the characters in Batman Begins are themselves beginning. You know what I mean? It's the start of Commissioner Gordon, who's not even a commissioner at that point. It's the start of Batman. It's the start of Scarecrow.
Yeah.
And it's funny, we actually do get a chance to come back around to him, but like seemingly, it's like we were never coming back to that character.
No, it's weird.
But we do, and it's barely anything. Like we never see his growth.
Oh no, they never do anything with him except bring him back.
Exactly.
Like, they just put him in the movies again.
Exactly.
It's kind of like a, hey, don't forget, he was fun, and it's like, don't forget, Nolan and Murphy are apparently friends.
Yeah. Right, I guess. But he does a fine job. Like he, you know, he portrays the Scarecrow. He portrays definitely the psychology aspect of it. You know, he does get himself involved with a kind of circuitous plan.
Yeah.
So that's much more comic booky. The mask itself, very comic booky. He does use a chemical agent, which I was impressed that they did that at all.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's funny. Like, when I was watching Batman Begins for the first time, I had no major problems with the microwave emitter. The second you say people are mostly made of water, you go, oh, microwave emitter is dumb. Oh, that's really stupid.
Yeah.
That does not work. If he turns it on, everyone's going to vaporize.
I know.
That makes no sense.
It's...
Like, you didn't need it, but you do need it if you want an exciting train ride.
Right, but also that in and of itself is pretty comic booky, though.
Yes.
Like, is like pushing science aside while also trying to embrace it.
Right, well, it's their way of being like... It's their funny way of being like, this is a real movie that's really grounded in reality.
Yeah.
What about that microwave emitter? Fuck you, it's a comic book movie.
Yeah,
like,
but again, like...
They're really... They're hypocritical in a way. But you know, it's funny, like, I don't care.
No,
I don't complain about the microwave emitter. I'm just kind of like, I get why people would have a problem with it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it's funny is that, like... then you have people like where you like you can take that and you can take it to like the nth degree, that type of argument where it's just like, you know, but how could you have like, you know, like a lightsaber, you know what I mean? But
like why do programs look like humans? Blah,
right,
blah, yeah.
But like here's what's interesting about Batman Begins is they're asking you to suspend your belief to a point, but they're also trying to ground it in reality.
Yeah.
And so you yourself are struggling with the like how much am I supposed to suspend that disbelief?
Exactly. Yeah, and there were some things that helped me along a lot better because it was borrowed or ripped off from the comics.
Right.
Like, Year One was a huge inspiration for this book, or for this movie as well. I mean, just the fact that, like, Batman has the bat attracting sonic device in his heel. I'm like, oh, I know what that's gonna do! And then it does it, and I'm like, oh, this is fun! I'm reminded of this. Interestingly enough, they got David S. Goyer to write all of them.
Oh, really?
And David S. Goyer is really bad. Like, he's just a bad scriptwriter. He's as bad as David Coop. Because here's the thing. David S. Goyer and David Coop are the same, are two sides of the same coin in as much as they both have accidental successes. Because, like, how do you fuck up Jurassic Park? Right?
That's true.
David Coop does not do that. David Goyer, like, how do you fuck up adapting Year One into a movie?
Right.
You don't. Then you get further and further away from source material, and that's when it all falls apart.
Yeah.
And that's why David Goyer is terrible, and why he should never write a DC movie again, and why they keep getting him.
Right.
And that's just that is literal Hollywood mentality where they're like, that guy. Why is that guy? Because he knows the material. Like, what do you mean? He made Blade 2. Like, that's why he's great.
Yeah.
And because he knows comic books.
Right.
And he's consistent.
He also seemingly relies on the skill of his actors. And so I think with Katie Holmes, she may not be quite as strong with taking material and making it her own.
Like Natalie Portman?
Right. Or even,
she's great.
Or like,
unless she's not.
I was going to say, or like Heath Ledger, who is like an actor. So like, regardless of what they put on the page, he was going to do something with it. Because he could.
Yeah.
And even like with Michael Caine, like he's doing something with the words on the page, whether you like it or not. Like he's trying to make it more than what it is. And I think so, like when they hired actors who aren't used to working in that fashion, like you start to see like oh, you're not a great actor necessarily, and these words are not doing you any favors.
No. And that's the thing. Katie Holmes is, I think, unquestionably bad.
Yeah.
And it's kind of frustrating because everybody, nearly everyone in this movie is a Brit. With the exception of Morgan Freeman and Katie Holmes. And she's so bad. She's so bad.
Yeah.
And like, why is she bad? What makes her so terrible? Her delivery choice, her like little like character quirks, which are obviously just things that she's doing that she's done forever.
Yes.
Like everything you need to know about Rachel Dawes you've seen from Dawson's Creek, which is like, really? Also, like the inclusion of Rachel Dawes as a character, because Rachel Dawes was a holdover from Batman Year 2,
right,
and then never used again. And it's like, it's weird. She's just real bad. And so when I heard that like she that was during the Tom Cruise marriage like problem, and one of those like, you're detracting from the movie, goodbye. And they replaced her with
Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, Maggie Gyllenhaal or Gyllenhaal. I was like, yay! I like Stranger Than Fiction, so I'll be happy with her in this. And I guess I was. She did things with the character.
She did.
She did the same thing that the other actors do, where it's like, oh, here are the words on the page. They're not necessarily great or deep or interesting, but I'll make it work.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to actually look into like what this actually means and where they're trying to take this scene. Absolutely.
Exactly. So like at the end of the day with Batman Begins, I still think it's fun and great.
Yeah.
I love a lot of little touches, like the fact that like the fledgling beginnings and the whole like, you know, southeast corner of Wayne Manor is going to become the Batcave, even though they never really do
anything with that.
But the little like chest that he keeps the Bat's like costume in is reminiscent of like the Asian inspired like place where you keep your armor.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, there's a lot of neat, cool stuff in those movies. Or in that movie.
Yeah, Lucius Fox is
Lucius Fox is great. The whole, like, grounded in reality explanation, and grounded in reality, like high-flying reality, where where the suit comes from and how to explain how the suit works. Like, he's holding his little, like, wiretapping, like, antenna, and it's, like, a little bit up, and it's like, oh, I can hide those in the little ears.
Exactly.
Like, that all works.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing that is a holdover from every movie franchise, for every Batman franchise, and I don't remember if it's even in Batman vs. Superman. I think that's when they first stopped doing it. But it's this weird thing where Batman needs to identify himself.
Like, I'm Batman.
I am Batman. I don't understand. You know, like, there's one moment where I accept it, and it's in Batman the Animated Series when he says, I am vengeance.
I am the night.
But him, like, pulling Falcone out of the car and saying, I'm Batman, and then bonking him on the head.
I feel like it's like every actor wants to do that.
Like,
wouldn't you want to do that?
That's it. That's your moment. That's your I'm Batman moment. It is literally... No, I think the I'm Batman moment is when he's stalking the punks for the first time, and the guy says, where are you? And he's upside down behind him and goes, here.
Yeah.
And then he just gets him with his cape.
That movie has a lot of fun with itself, and
yes.
I really appreciate that. I always wish there was a little bit more of Ra's al Ghul.
I wish that they said fuck it and made Ra's al Ghul actually immortal.
Right?
Instead of annoying me with it.
Yeah, and here's this is a thing I have that is, it's not an actual complaint.
Mm-hmm.
It's not anything. It doesn't detract from anything. It's just something I'm like, why? But like, and I know why. Because Liam Neeson's Irish, that of course he has to do like the boxing thing.
Yeah, he does the
thing. I'm like, come on! I know
he was a boxer.
I know that, and I know that's why they did it. But I'm like,
but he looks like a dork.
But you're still Ra's al Ghul,
right? Like you've learned 1,000 forms of martial arts, and I'm going to beat you by using 1920s Irish pugilism.
Yeah, and every time I'm like, yep.
By the way, some people are asking where Ra's al Dawes was based from. Like, no, she was originally a character from Batman Year 2. Like, she was a character. Mm-hmm. And by the way, she was not like aping to become district attorney. She was a female character that was a love interest Batman that was created in like the 80s or whatever. So that's where she came from. It's like, who cares? That's the other thing. That's why whenever they made those choices, I was like, ah.
Right.
Like, Henry Duckard is a real character who helps Batman in his quest across Europe, and having him be a pseudonym for Ra's al Ghul, I was like, at least you use the guy.
Right.
Like, you use the name, that's fine, because that's cool.
Yeah.
Also, I didn't think that the swear to me scene, because I was like, I love that moment.
Yeah.
Where he's like, he does the whole like, the voice, the beginning of the voice.
The beginning of the voice.
And I didn't know it was going to go to the direction it went in Dark Knight.
No. Right?
So that's going to be my transition to Dark Knight.
Okay, let's do it.
Oh, also, they ripped off the scene at the end of Year 1 and put it at the end of the Batman Begins movie, and I was like, yes, good, do that.
Yeah.
Where it's like, the Joker. You never know. Like, who, whatever. And then, like, there's a card. That was awesome.
Very cool.
But, yeah, it was great.
Yeah. That was them, to me, saying, like, we're going to go a little bit more comic book in the next one.
Okay, like, now that we've got to...
Yes.
Let's have some fun here.
Exactly.
And so they did this, and so they did Dark Knight. And Dark Knight, they were like, okay, the dude from 10 Things I Hate About You is gonna be Joker. And everybody was like, that's never gonna work! And then there were a lot of people who were like, yeah, they didn't think that Michael Keaton was gonna work. And I remember all that bullshit and complaining, and I was like, and I remember being on the, just being like, he'll probably be fine. They made one casting mistake, and they replaced her. So I'm fine.
Yes.
What was the circumstances by which you saw Dark Knight, and do you remember
what's funny?
it?
I cannot remember any of these seeing them for the first time.
Really?
I really don't. I
do.
Have any recollection of that. So you go ahead.
Okay, I saw it at a midnight showing with Ben.
Okay. And
he got tickets, like he got advance tickets, and we went and saw it. And then the next morning we all went and saw it.
Oh.
Like,
nice.
I saw it around like midnight or 2, like between midnight and 2 o'clock in the morning.
A bunch of people.
And then we got up at like 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. We all went and saw it again.
I never remember if I saw it in the theaters. I really, really don't. If I did, it was with a different guy.
It was with us.
It was not with you.
Wasn't it?
No.
No.
I don't think so.
Well, all right.
When did it come out?
I thought it was like 2008.
Anyway.
Well, yeah, 2008.
Yeah, no, I didn't see that.
I
don't think I saw that. I think I had a couple of other things going on
that
fair. Year.
Yeah. Well, in any case, we solid. And there's a lot of things that are good about that movie. Naming them all is like why everyone knows Heath Ledger's amazing. Well, what were some of your thoughts about Dark Knight?
What's funny is like going into that, like I didn't have any inkling of how Heath Ledger was going to be. I feel like I had heard some news about his his practices with the books and how like he only read some comics but he wasn't a huge comic book fan, and that type of talk usually makes me kind of nervous. For me, Joker had always just been Mark Hamill, and that was it. Like not that like I saw it in theaters, but like Jack Nicholson's portrayal was never mine.
Right. Yeah, that was not your.
That was not
your
cup of
Joker.
tea. But I was just enamored by this performance because it was something I'd never seen.
That's true.
And like, it's funny when you say it's something you've never seen. That goes one of two ways. It's either like,
that's something I've never seen. Like Steel, we saw Steel recently. That's something I've never seen.
That's something I've never seen. Yeah, but, and it was not good. But like, it was like, it was something where it was like out of the gate. I wasn't just like, I'm in love with this. I was just like, I think this is good. And then on my further reflection, I was like, no, I really do like that. I like what he did with it. Like, again, he made it his own. Mm-hmm. He does pay homage to those who have come before. He pays homage to the comics, like to the comic books, but like isn't just mimicking something.
Yeah, and what's great is that like it allows other Jokers to coexist. Like, it doesn't diminish from Mark Hamill's Joker.
No,
I'm not disappointed that Mark Hamill didn't like come back to play the Joker in physical form. It was just it just works on its own.
I agree, and I think like Mark Hamill, I think, is at his best playing the Joker as a voice actor.
Yeah.
Because of the ridiculous faces he makes and because of, like, how he gets into that character. And I think being on set, being in person, I think that would diminish his ability to play that character.
I also think that, like, Mark Hamill's time of playing the Joker has come and gone.
Yes.
I think that, like, having seen Killing Joke, I think that that's over. Like, I've also seen Justice League Action, and while it's fun to hear him... he's not the same Joker he was, and I'm like just you can let it go now.
Yeah, and Heath Ledger's Joker fits into that world,
right?
Well.
Exactly. He's a great Joker for that world.
Yes.
And what was funny was throughout watching that movie, I remember being like, I remember when he first enters the scene, and then music came up, and we haven't mentioned the music, but Hans Zimmer's score for Batman is also great.
Yeah.
But the score for Joker, which is just like one like piercing string. Is so evocative of like Jaws and other horror movie villains that have iconic scores and or just great notes. When his tune came on and he enters the room and he's just playing it the way he played it, I was like, okay, I think this is really cool. Like, I was into it.
Yeah.
And then the more movie you saw, the more I was upset that he wasn't in the scene I was watching.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, oh, I really want him to be in more of this movie.
Right.
And which, of course, was brilliant because it allowed each scene he's in to be his scene and also be like a fun scene to watch. And then, of course, it all kind of culminates to the interrogation scene for everyone.
Oh my god!
They're like, like everybody wants to see those two like talk to each other, even though at that point, like, we kind of just wanted to see Joker talk, like
right,
because Batman kind of
but like he does such an amazing job of like being this like it's disturbing how charismatic he is in the horrific things he is doing. No, that the thing that made me the moment that sold me on the movie, and I got to tell you, the opening sequence where it's like this fun kind of Heat robbery heist movie with all these betrayals and shit, I was like, that's cool. This is a cool scene. I like this scene. Right. For me, that scene is. I don't think anyone would say this out loud, but like for me, that's almost like a little bit of a nod to the Jack Nicholson. To like the here's my gang and like, you know what I mean, and like here like I'm doing like a crime, you know what I mean, like I'm doing a standard crime right now, you know what I mean, like I have a plan,
right? And then of course he reveals that like those are only to facilitate his anarchy,
right? Exactly. But for me, like that is like a little bit of a like, you know, he does this sometimes,
right? Exactly. Then there's also like but the scene that got me was the pencil.
Oh my god!
Because I didn't get at first. I'm like, okay, like, he bonked that guy. Holy fuck! Like, incredibly violent with zero violence.
Yep.
Like, with zero, like, interest in...
And you don't really see it.
Yeah, it's subtle.
You just know what happened.
Even though he bashes a man's head into the table.
Yes.
There's a subtlety to it, because they don't draw attention to it.
They don't...
They do it, and then they move away. And then they're immediately on to the next thing.
Yep.
And because you're already hooked into his character, you're watching him, that you almost forget about what happened, and then you think about it for a second. You're like, whoa!
Right, but that is, in a sense, like, them trying to put you in his mindset, because he's already moved on.
Yeah, he put that pencil there to go into the head of the guy who will inevitably try and stop him. Unbelievable.
And he's just like, and now we're done with that. So, like,
exactly.
Like, I don't know why anybody's even thinking about that anymore.
And then there's this weird casting in this movie, because there's a lot of brilliant casting in this movie. Aaron Eckhart plays Two-Face.
Yes. And
Aaron
Eckhart is my James Sunderland.
Oh, yeah. He should have been James Sunderland. And, like, if they were to make a real Silent Hill 2 movie.
Yeah, that's my James. Before we move on from the Joker, I just want to, like, point out, like, Ledger does so many, like, subtle things, like you said. So many big things, like grandiose things. Like, he does a lot of great things. Like, I always think of him driving the car hanging out the window. Like, I think about that. The number one thing that strikes me as his portrayal of the Joker comes down to a little tick he has that someone who has scarring on their mouth would have. He licks the sides of his mouth a lot. And, like, once you notice it,
it's
you can't stop
every time he talks.
At it. And it's like, it's just so spectacular because he just makes it part of the character. He's just like, that's what he does.
Yeah.
Sometimes. And, like, it, you know, it's like a tick, but it's also like a means to distract the person he's talking to. You know, like, it's just such a brilliant little small thing that he threw in there.
Yeah, it's an acting choice that no one saw coming because nobody gave Heath Ledger this much opportunity.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Weird.
Exactly.
But yeah, then there's this weird casting decisions they keep making. Like, they got that dude to play Falcone in the last movie, and he's a Brit who played a East Coast mobster, which was like, okay, why? And then they got Michael J. White, aka Spawn, to play the head of the African American gang in Gotham. Okay, I love Michael J. White in Spawn. I love Michael J. White in Black Dynamite. I love Michael J. White when he's doing karate or fighting people. He's a great deleted scene in Kill Bill.
Okay.
Michael J. White is not known for his subtlety,
right,
or his like low-key acting.
No.
And so when he's in this movie, it's not only obvious it's Michael J. White, but it's also not great.
No.
Like, his acting is not great.
Right. Especially not when you're in the room with Heath Ledger.
And that's the thing, is that either you blend into the background, or you need to have somebody who can do it.
Yeah, who has the chops.
And that's the other thing, is that every actor who interacts with him is not great. Or is weird. Like, they got Michael J. White, who is, like, distractingly weird. And then they got that awful, tan, like, dime a dozen mobster actor to play Maroni.
Yeah.
And he's so bad. And it's so weird. Where they were like, okay, we're gonna cast, like, Cillian freaking Murphy from 28 Days Later as the Scarecrow. Yep. What about this mobster? Anyone.
Yeah.
But not anyone. A very specific kind of anyone. A distractingly bad actor. An actor who would play a mobster in a soap opera. Yeah. That kind of actor.
Yeah. No,
Eric Roberts, thank you.
It's
not good.
It's so bizarre.
And bizarre because, like, it's so weird. It's just weird.
Very weird.
But weird, and it's just constant weirdness, like, in those kinds of movies.
It is. And here's what's so funny, is it's so easy in Dark Knight to forget that Harvey Dent is even in that movie.
Yeah. He's so great.
He's very good, but, like, the Joker is so memorable.
Yeah.
And, like, Two-Face is just thrown away.
It's such a waste.
It's just such a waste.
It's a complete waste. Like, I was really excited when first seeing this movie because I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
They are setting up Harvey Dent.
Yes.
He will be Two-Face in the next one.
Right, and they almost do some of the animated series stories with Harvey Dent in the, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, a little bit of that. But because they have Joker, because Ledger's doing such a good job, it's so painfully obvious that they were like, we have to give him more.
Yeah.
Like, we have to let him do what he needs to do. And then, like, this story takes a back seat, which is unfortunate.
Yes.
Especially with what would happen with the death of Heath Ledger. Yeah. Where it's like, you could have saved this great Harvey Dent story.
It must have been that they thought, we're going to make the third one all Joker.
Right?
And then they went, oh, well, I guess we probably shouldn't have killed Two-Face at the end of this movie.
Yeah, and again, that's like, nobody could have seen that coming, but it's just like, you killed this character that was underdeveloped in this film, and, like, not because the person wasn't doing a good job, it's just you had only so many minutes.
That's the thing, is that Aaron Eckhart needed all that time for the Harvey Dent character to grow and blossom, because they didn't bother to put him in the first one. Which was a mistake, but I'm sure they didn't want to lock in an actor, and I'm sure some actor didn't want to be like, I don't want to be... Look, Tommy Lee Jones is a brilliant actor, but fuck his portrayal of Two-Face. I'm not going to be that. I'm not going to be the joke.
Meanwhile, Billy Dee Williams is like, I'll do it.
I will be Two-Face. I signed on for those movies. Dude, by the way, Billy Dee Williams got a payout.
to get him out of there.
Oh yeah, no, because Billy Williams is only Harvey Dent in the beginning in Batman '89 because he's like, I know who this is. He's gonna be Two-Face. I'm in.
Right.
And they were like, sure. And then by the time, and then they were like, and then 2, they're like, no, we're not gonna do that. And then they went in the third one, they're like, we're gonna do Two-Face, and they're like, well, according to the contract, Billy D. Williams has to be Two-Face, and it's like 1995, and they're like, no, we're not gonna hire Billy D. Williams to play anybody, much less one of our action figure selling villains.
Yeah.
And then they went, oh, well, I guess we'll just, and they have to buy him out of his contract.
No, absolutely, no,
which
they
is like
should
a real waste.
have like. I know we were talking about Batman Begins and we've gotten off of that, but like
they should have put
the district attorney that's working with Rachel Dawes should have been Harvey Dent. We should have established him right there and then.
I think he's like some rando who gets killed.
I'm sure he does. They're looking at
when they look at the crates,
and he finds the
and I'm like,
and it doesn't have to be him. Like
he dies, right? And then you get Harvey Dent in there, and you don't even have to, you don't even have to have a fucking actor.
No.
You just refer to him.
Yes.
So you establish him early on. You know, like the animated series does.
Right? Like when they're talking about like when they're talking about the district attorney's office and like all of that and like saying like I have someone. Gordon should have been like, is it Harvey Dent? And he's like, no, it's Rachel. You know what I mean? Like like there's so many ways they could have done that, and it at least like you're like you said, it establishes him, but like he didn't get a fair shake.
Yeah.
And it's really unfortunate.
No, I agree. Poor Harvey Dent, which is whatever he says in those movies.
Yeah.
But that said, okay, Dark Knight is great.
It is.
It also...
Except for the two boats.
Except for the two boats, which is the funniest joke. One of the funniest jokes in Lego Batman. You mean like the two boats? This is way better than the two boats. Because when you say it like that, you're like, oh yeah, I guess two boats is kind of lame.
Yeah. I mean, I get it.
It works in the context of that movie, but when you talk about it outside, and you're like, Joker's big nefarious scheme is two boats, one of which most people don't care about. Like, but that said, there's a lot of greatness in that movie. I did not expect them to kill Rachel Dawes. I expected it to be so I thought that Rachel Dawes was going to be the daughter of Ra's al Ghul. I thought that the twist was going to be that they killed her, but they don't find a body, and that like the League of Shadows gets her out of there before
and puts her in the Lazarus
and puts her. Well, either that or like no, they leave with her. They abscond with her before the explosion.
Oh,
that like awesome. They were there the whole time, and that like that would have been cool because then it's like you hired this great actress to do something, and then it would have been a great twist where it's like because they established in the first movie that Ra's al Ghul has like been trying to attack Gotham the whole time, and the Waynes were instrumental in keeping him from being able to topple Gotham, and it's like, okay, well then I'm gonna hatch a long game, and I'm gonna get my daughter into this world, and I'm gonna like arrange it so they become friends, and then establish like a cover story for her for a long time.
Right,
then,
right.
Yeah. But no, then they killed her off anyway, and whatever, I guess that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, like, it was what it was. They were done with that character. Mm-hmm. Again, still the love interest, even though she's
still the love interest
with Harvey.
Yep. And she's like kind of a jerk because she's like, yeah, I'll leave him for you. And then at the end, she's like, no, I'm not going to do that. And you're like, okay, right on. Like, that's cool.
And that really is the moment, like... That's the moment for me that makes the least amount of sense in the context of what then happens to Alfred.
Oh, yeah.
Because Alfred doesn't give him the note.
Yeah.
Right?
But then, okay, so that's what's so flimsy about it, is that, like... So he burns the letter in this big crescendo of drama, right? He burns the letter. He's going to keep the secret forever. And then in Dark Knight Rises, like, what if I actually... He tells him everything.
I know.
And he's like, and then Bruce believes him anyway, and he's like, get out of here. Like, and you're like, nothing about this movie works.
No.
There's a lot of things that do work in Dark Knight Rises, so like, let's get into it. Dark Knight Rises, the biggest disappointment of the Batman trilogy. Obviously, Nolan wanted to do a movie about a city under siege. Right.
You know what, though? No, it's not. For me, it's the weaker of the three of them. Like, for me, like, you know, Returns is my favorite.
Well, Dark Knight.
Yeah. Sorry. Dark Knight is my favorite. But this one, like, there are elements I like. Like,
there's a lot of cool things that happen.
I like Gordon in this.
Yeah, I like Gordon as well.
I think he's great in this.
Yeah.
I like where they began with Selina Kyle.
Yes.
Like, there are elements to her character I really like a lot.
I like Anne Hathaway, despite the fact that she is just like the worst kind of drama
right,
kid.
but like, and here's the thing, like, I like the character of Talia al Ghul, but without establishing a pre-relationship between Batman or Bruce Wayne and Talia, it's really flimsy to
Making
me.
another secret woman character, pass.
Yeah.
Also, I'm not a huge Marion Cotillard fan.
She's fine.
She's fine, but I don't care.
Right.
I'm not invested. I don't like her portrayals of most things, and having her be in this movie was like, oh, she's a big name right now, so now she's in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, thanks. And having her, like, the twist being that she's the daughter and the Bane, like, what are we doing? At this point, like,
I didn't.
Why are we doing all these surprises?
Like, it was literally as though they were like, well, Poison Ivy in the last movie we made was in charge of Bane, so let's get another chick to be in charge of Bane.
Oh, I can't imagine that's a thing.
No, I don't think so. But like that, I immediately I made that connection, which I didn't want to because it's not really there. But like I couldn't help but make that connection.
Yeah.
Tom Hardy made some choices.
Oh, he made some choices that will never leave the character forever.
No.
Okay, so everybody kept bitching at me about my X-Men casting choices because I didn't cast Tom Hardy as Wolverine. What makes everyone think that Tom Hardy is so fucking great that he could be anything? Because here's the thing. He couldn't be Bane. He was something else. He was hilarious. And I'm so glad that Tom Hardy was Bane because I will never stop laughing at him.
Right? And I don't think that's what it is, but like, it's almost like Ledger put such a mark on the character he played that the person who came after that, especially in the wake of knowing they wanted to do something with the Joker, like, felt like they had to do something more with the character they were given.
Yes.
And in a sense, Bane is a blank slate for an actor.
Yeah.
Like, Bane was in one movie, barely, it wasn't really acted, so
like his comic book origins and legacy are not very well, received. People think Bane's cool looking. People think that Bane did a really cool, interesting thing, which they, of course, used in the movie. But, like, afterward, like, no one's gonna be like, well, I wanted to use the inspiration from Secret Six to really inform my Bane character. Like, they did not do that.
What's funny is, like, where is Bane from?
Where's Bane originally from?
Yeah.
Santa Prisa.
Right.
Which is, like, an island in South America.
Right.
Like, he's Hispanic.
That's where I'm going with this. That is what was weird. You had the opportunity to bring in a legitimate, diverse character that people love. He's a fan favorite.
Yep.
You have the breaking of the bat.
Yep.
You know, you can just do that, and you go with a white British dude.
Yeah.
And it's like, what?
Hello!
It's like you literally had this moment to, like, create this, like, legitimate diverse character that you weren't, like, changing something to make it diverse.
Nope.
You took it, changed it to make it less diverse.
Now, that said, in the comics, Bane is also incredibly white.
I'm sure he is, but like, you could have done, like...
You could have done anything.
Completely changed it.
Yes.
Not only is he British, the actor's British, but he's from where?
I don't know.
Because he's in the
yeah, where is he from? I don't know.
Right? Like, it's some very bizarre choices surrounded Bane.
Yeah. That said, I'm glad... okay, there were some neat ideas. The mask thing, I don't give a shit about.
No.
Like him being like, I need to wear it or I'll die. No, that's not Bane.
No.
That's, like, made up crap for the movie, fine. But, like, okay... The voice is hilarious, so I'm so glad he's in it. And the things he says are also kind of fun and chilling. Like, when he's just like, I don't care you think I'm a clown. That's okay, that's cool and scary. Like, that's it. Like, that's actually a character then. Yeah. Like, I talk like this because it disarms you, but then I'm a master strategist. Like, okay, all right, I guess I'm involved. Like, I'm going to crash this plane. Like, hilarious stuff. I don't know if it makes for a brilliant third chapter in your epic Batman trilogy.
Right.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, he might as well have just been King Snake. King Snake is actually, like, a white British bad guy.
There you go.
Like, he should have just been King Snake. But then people have been like, what?
But he can't break the bat's back.
A Robin villain?
Right?
Like, yeah, no.
Now, meanwhile, like, Selena Kyle, Catwoman, like, yes, people remember her because she's hot.
In this movie?
In this movie.
That's too bad, because
I know, but, like, I think that she does an amazing job of sticking to the, like, fine line that Catwoman walks.
Yes.
Like, between the, like, I'm really in it for me, but at the same time, like, you have appealed to my sense of, like, morality.
Yes.
And, like, I really am into you, Batman.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really into this, and, like, you're making me feel bad. I don't like feeling bad.
Right. So now I gotta square my conscience by helping you out.
Exactly.
Like, no, that was cool. Like, I liked her. I thought she was cool. You know, it's funny, she was gonna be Black Cat. Originally.
Oh, okay.
And then that didn't happen. So
Alright, but like...
I think she was supposed to be in Black Cat in, like, the Sam Raimi movies.
Right?
And then they were like, nah.
Okay.
She's like, well, I still want to be a cat person.
Yeah, in this, like, I love that her introduction is through a theft.
Yes.
That's perfect.
Yeah, that was really
You
cool.
haven't established this character at all, fine. You literally, like, this is one of those interesting moments in the script where they show instead of told.
Yeah.
Like, we see her committing a crime.
Yeah.
You know, and then, like, we get, like, this kind of, like, jumbled origin for her in a sense where she goes back to the apartment. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
no,
Like, there's a lot of cool shit in there.
Selena Kyle is this? It doesn't matter. It all kind of fits together for her.
Yeah.
So, of course, the ending with her, it's a little weird.
Oh, yeah, is it a dream? Is it real? Like,
well, just in general, like, the two of them just actually... They're like, no, these two are end up together.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, oh, you just decided that?
Oh, that was hilarious, too, because they're like, oh, no, like... Because it makes Bruce Wayne such a chode.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole movie, he sucks. Because, like, all right, he's sad for, like, 5-10 years, however long, and he's, like... And he's got, like, a limp now because, like, being Batman is hard on your body. And, like, and he's just sad because Rachel died. At no point in, like... After, like, a year of him being like, Rachel... Alfred doesn't go like, oh, I should just tell him what happened. Like, no. No, it's only when he becomes Batman again. And then it's in the third movie where he's like, you know, the police might really want some of that technology that you use to stop your criminals. Like... fucking the argument to make that is not now. The time to make that argument, it was like fucking 5 years ago or 10 years ago, or when he wasn't Batman. Like, oh, Master Wayne, I noticed that the kite still has all this great technology. Maybe you want to give it to the police. Like, no, he doesn't give a shit. He's just trying to protect Wayne, which is fine, I guess. But like,
I don't know.
Alfred's descent into crybaby, like caretaker, is such a change from the character, and is so disappointing to the audience. I think that like pass.
Well, what we see is instead it's that, but then there's also a transition to Lucius Fox becoming Alfred.
Yeah, because he literally just goes like, oh, well, Alfred won't do it, well, I guess I'll just have to step up then. Like, that's literally the movie, and it's like, well, I heard what happened, and I don't have a problem with any of it. Like, he has, Lucius, no problem with him being Batman or facilitating, and, like, Alfred's not, like, angry with Lucius for, like, helping him do that. Nope, it's inconvenient and stupid.
Can I just say there was literally a moment in that movie where, like, I was almost done. Because I thought they were going to kill Lucius Fox.
Oh my god, when the water comes in, he's like, oops.
If they kill him, I'm
out.
I'm done. Yeah. I'm getting up right now, and I'm out of here.
I thought they were going to kill everybody. I thought they were going to kill everybody, get everybody off the table, just end everything.
Yeah, because Gordon almost dies, Fox almost dies.
Yep. I'm like, oh, they're going to kill everyone. Okay, cool. It's going to be one of those movies. Okay, cool. No one will like this one.
Right?
And then no.
I got to tell you, like, I know there's another character we have to talk about, but, like, I want to talk about a quick side character. That random police chief.
Oh, yeah.
Where, like, we get, like, a little glimpse of his life, and then he dies.
And then he dies. He's literally like, I'm not gonna do this. I'll get killed in the streets. And like, well, fine. If you don't want to die in the streets, then I guess you're just a coward. And then he goes and like
dies
and then he dies in the streets. And you're like, yeah, I guess he was right. Literally, there, like his he didn't make a difference at all.
Not really.
He doesn't do anything. He's just in the front, and he's also sad. Yeah. Like in the front, he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna die," and then he dies, and you're like, "Oh, that's the end of that."
But he's wearing his dress uniform,
just like he says.
By the way, that's really convenient because that's how they have to bury them, I guess. So, you know, that was just nice of him to think ahead.
Well, he does. No, he says like, "I'm not asking you to do that."
Yeah.
You know, I'm just saying like, I need you to be part of this.
Right.
And it's like, yeah. Like, you know who's not in that fucking crowd? Gordon.
Well, Gordon's got another thing.
I know.
He's doing something way worse.
I have to stop I'm putting a nuke in Gotham. A nuke.
Yeah.
Like, really?
Yeah.
I know. Ugh, pass.
But we can't leave talking about this movie or end this show without talking about the fact that they almost do Robin.
Oh, yeah.
But they don't.
Well, because I think, I remember Christian Bale was on record saying, like, if they do Robin, I will stop being Batman.
Right.
Because Robin sucks.
Right.
And it's like, you don't know anything.
Right. And that's a mistake. Joseph Gordon-Levitt is great, but he's too old.
Yeah. Well, he'd be, like, yeah, no.
He's
you can't do a Robin in that universe.
No, you really can't, but, like...
You can have a Duke in that universe.
I really wanted to see Joseph Gordon-Levitt do something else in those movies, because I like him as an actor. Again, he's another actor who takes something on the page and plays with it and makes it his own. Yeah. That was not the best choice for him. I don't know what would have been a good choice, but, like, they ran out of movies anyway, so...
Yeah. No, it's weird. Gordon-Levitt's good, and I'm disappointed. Making his name Robin is really weak.
So dumb.
Like, really weak.
So dumb.
Yeah, also making him a totally different, like, character entirely, give him a stupid new name.
Yeah.
F you.
I know. It's really bizarre. It's really bizarre. And then to, like, literally just hand over everything to him at the end of a movie that you know they're not continuing.
Oh, yeah. No, that's where they're... No, they're, like, the point of it is just, like, no, it's just that, like, there will always be. And he's living on top of, like, or, like, on the top of the Batcave is a whole army of new Batmans. There will always be a Batman because there's always, like, an orphan up there.
There will always be a Dread Pirate Roberts.
Yeah,
because
that's what they did. They turned Batman into the Dread Pirate Roberts.
Once they find a chick that will bang them.
Yep. Then they're going to stop doing it.
Then they'll stop being Batman.
Yeah, because apparently, like, it takes only, like, 48 months for you to be annihilated physically by being Batman, even though he's only Batman, like, maybe a little while. Right. Like, he only does, like, 6 things as Batman, and then he's like, oh, I have the body of, like a professional athlete that's working out all the time. Like, no.
Right?
No. Also, like, you had a microwave emitter in the first movie. You don't have to, like, be like, oh, no, but if you really was Batman, like, you all the cartilage in your knees would be destroyed. Like, don't pick and choose just to satisfy your fucking weird narrative.
Did you think it was weird at the end? And maybe I'm incorrect about my memory of this scene. When Alfred sees the two of them together in
Rome or whatever,
Venice, wherever, is she wearing his mother's pearls?
Yes.
That's really weird to me.
Yes. Well, she's
I understand the symbolism, but that's really weird.
Yeah. It's creepy. It's a little creepy, but it's also like, no, he's like, these are doing no one any good.
You're the new Mrs. Wayne.
Yeah, you're my mom now. I don't think that's what it is.
No, I just mean like, no, you'll probably die in an alley.
Yeah.
We're going to make a new Batman.
Yeah.
Come on.
We'll name him Terry.
Or Damien.
It's not Damien. But yeah, you know, like, there's a lot of neat ideas that are just kind of, like, wasted or not explored. And then I remember them saying, like, oh, we're going to do, I remember them saying, like, this is it. Like, I remember every time they did a Batman movie, Nolan's like, I don't know if I'm going to do anymore. And we're like, shut the fuck up, you're going to do 2 more.
Right.
And then after the second one, he's like, I don't know, it seemed like a pretty good place to stop. And I'm like, you're not going to stop. They're going to drive a fucking Tumbler-sized car full of money in front of your door.
Yep.
But they did that. And then after the third one, he's like, I'm not going to do any more. And everyone was like, good. Clearly you were done. And yeah, we were good. Those movies are cool, and they have a place. And I never want to throw on Dark Knight Rises, but I do like it when it's on. Whenever it's on, I'm like,
if it's on, we'll watch some of it. It's you know what it is, like, it's the weakest of 3 movies, but it doesn't make it a horrible movie. If it was the only Batman movie, we'd all be really confused.
It would be very weird.
But you'd still be like, that was cool, and I wish they had made more of them.
Yeah.
But, like, when it comes on the heels, personally, for me, of Dark Knight, that it's like, it's not as strong.
No.
But I also don't think, personally, that Batman Begins is as strong. But for some people, that's their favorite movie.
Yes. Because I think it's the most comic booky.
Right. And I totally understand that. So, like, a lot of this is going to come down to, like, personal opinion. I feel like, you know, each of them has flaws. Each of them, because it's, you know, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, that's going to happen. But overall, they're good. I mean, like, especially with the last Batman movie, to that being the Clooney Batman.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
like, it was such an incredible departure from that. By the way, I know we were talking about this, but that fucking Clooney Batman, the Batman that has no woman as the call to action.
That's right.
For Batman.
That's
Batman
the only
has
one.
No love interest. Like, Poison Ivy does her thing, but it's not really a love interest.
He's not really in love with her.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's so bizarre how they got that element right, but that movie is so bad.
Everything, yeah, literally everything but that is wrong.
It's so terrible.
Yeah.
But, you know, on the heels of that, to put these movies out, you know, I think, you know, created something amazing. Did it teach Warner Brothers an incorrect lesson about their superheroes?
Oh, yeah, it completely... Yeah. That's the problem, is that, like, okay, so those work. Like,
because it's Batman.
Well, because it's Batman, because it's Nolan's Batman,
yes.
Because there's a whole bunch of people who had a bunch of plans that were, like, in play.
Yeah.
And then they were like, okay, no, but that makes $1 billion. Though.
Right.
So that means that if we need to do a Superman movie, it has to be like that. Which is why they got Nolan to produce it, and they got Goyer to write it, and they got Hans Zimmer to do the score. Like, let's just do Batman Begins with Superman, even though that's impossible because it's about an alien. Like,
right.
you have to make it about an alien.
It's an instance of like the wrong lesson.
Yeah, it was totally the wrong lesson.
Like they missed the mark on what made this successful. That it was a perfect storm of like tone, director, and like characters, actors, and story. Like it just all really worked together.
Yeah. So, the Nolan trilogy is strong and it's cool. Is it too bad that it fucks up DCEU? Yes. But no one was planning for one to be there when it was happening. So, and you have to remember where it came from. Like, we were all anxiously awaiting Batman movies after Batman and Robin, and it really fixed things. So, I like them. And as a full trilogy, also they brought back Ra's al Ghul at the end of the third one, which is stupid. He was a ghost. Like, he's a hallucination. Yeah. Which I was like, no. Like, but no, see, we're doing the thing. Like,
no, he's
immortal.
They tried something different with those characters. For me, it doesn't work, but that's a personal opinion, and I recognize that. Yep.
From there, I guess, like, all right, look, the Batman trilogy's cool. Nolan was... and I think the lesson to be learned is you need a person who cares about the story they're telling. Yeah. And they have to be passionate about it. Like, when Nolan cared, those movies, like, had an uptick. When Nolan, like, was obviously leaving or not interested, like, there was a downturn. The fact that Nolan's a competent and consummate filmmaker means that even though he probably wasn't as invested in Rises as he was in Dark Knight, you still got a good movie because the dude knows how to make a good movie.
Exactly. And to be fair, and let's also point out the fact that, you know, Rises had a lot of things against it to begin with. It wasn't the movie they planned on making. Nope. You know what I mean? Nobody foresaw the death of the actor that they planned on continuing.
That's the thing, is that, like, we'd have a very different conversation if Joker was the main villain in the third movie.
Absolutely true. So for them to have put this together, and it to be so competent, really says a lot.
It does. So, yeah, literally the fact they had to make a 180-degree turn, like, immediately after that huge change, it's just weird.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
But from there, I guess, like, we can talk about what's happening at ComicPOP and then wrap up the show. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Yeah. Stay tuned today to watch us talk about Batman Judge Dredd on back issues. Tiffany's there for that one. It's a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. This is all Batman day.
Very Batman. Yeah. Today's all Batman. So check that out in a couple hours. We'll see. Actually, in about half an hour, it'll come out. And let's see, we're going to be at Emerald City Comic Con next weekend.
That's right.
Next weekend. Holy crap.
I can't believe it. I looked at the calendar. I was like,
oh crap, I got to be in Seattle, like, in a few days.
I'm like, I'm going to have to actually pack.
Yeah, so come meet us at Emerald City Friday and Saturday. Saturday, we're having a weekly pull live show at 2:30 on the podcasting stage. Check out us on the subreddit r/comicbook or ComicPOP, and on our Facebook page. I believe it's facebook.com/ComicPOP or ComicPOP Official. I don't remember. Check the description box below this video to find it. All the links for everything we do are down there. And there'll be a little, like, explanation about the stage, the booth, everything about where we're going to be.
That's awesome.
And when. We will, I'm sure, arrange a meet and greet at Emerald City. So check our Twitters. Go to twitter.com/SalSaysWhat for me, or twitter.com/TheRealZoobs for Tiffany.
Me.
Or I'm sure Benny will also probably tweet out stuff. But you can always consistently rely on us to announce when we're going to be in places. So we'll see you guys there.
For those who want to know the other member of the back issues, Judge Dredd Batman, it's one of those rare episodes where it's me and Sal and Ethan.
That's right. So it's fun.
Yeah.
And I'm just in the process of finishing up next week's back issues, which is a Thor episode. So check that out when it comes out. We're going to drop that, I guess, Wednesday, along with a special episode of the Elseworlds Exchange, because we're leaving Wednesday, but everything you like will be out on the day that you expect.
That's correct.
Anyway, thanks a lot for hanging out with us and watching us talk about Batman for a little while.
Yeah,
we really appreciate it.
This is a lot of fun. This came out of nowhere. I know, like you said in the beginning, when you mentioned the Dark Knight trilogy, I have to... I legitimately thought you meant the books, and I was like, I haven't finished the third one.
Right? Yeah, no, neither has DC.
I know. I'm just saying, like,
but they are apparently scheduled. Like, they are. I saw the solicits.
But legitimately, I was like, why do I what?
Yeah, no.
And you're like, no, the movies. I'm like, oh, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, no.
Oh. Yes.
But hey, we'll see you guys next time with another episode of the Elseworlds Exchange. And hey, by the way, we also have a new show which is called Getting Into Character, which I got to shoot some more versions of. So check it out. By the way, it's on the channel right now. It's Getting Into Iron Man. It's a little.
That was a very good show.
Thank you. I appreciate
it a lot.
Yeah. Hopefully, it takes off. We'll see you there. But yeah, Alan Scott, everybody,
Alan Scott.
We'll see you later. Bye.